Alright, hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. This is Rob here at Smirking Gun Reviews, back to talk more comics. And since I still haven't received my comics from my subscription service, I had to go to the store and pick up some of the comics that weren't part of my subscription. And one of them that I picked up was Punisher number 16. And the reason we're talking about this today, because I haven't covered the Punisher, I've been reading the Punisher for since I came back into comics, but I haven't done a Punisher review since I stopped kind of doing comic reviews a little while ago. But this one's kind of important because this is the end of Rosenberg's arc on the Punisher. You're going to start doing Garth Ennis's run, Punisher the Soviet storyline, pretty soon. And when I got back into comics and I found the Punisher, they had started, the legacy thing, and I found, they were doing the some of those covers with the flashy, changes in there. So I remember this War Machine cover from way back in the day. I thought, oh, this is pretty dope. And I really like the art in this storyline. This started like the post-Secret Empire storyline where Frank was going after Hydra and Zemo for basically kind of duping him. I don't remember the whole Secret Empire storyline because I didn't get a chance to read it. I just have it kind of like the cliff notes in my head. But Frank felt pretty manipulated and is going after everybody that was responsible for kind of, I believe, duping him into helping, bad Steve Rogers, right? And one of the other cool things about this run that I find cool was that the character looked like John Bernthal from the show, which we all know is over now, and hopefully we will get John Bernthal back as the Punisher. I don't want anyone else in that role. If you've got John Bernthal, still take him. And there was some pretty cool things coming out of this story, because Nick Fury basically hires Frank, to do something, and then Frank goes off book, because of course he does. And he gets the War Machine armor and starts tearing across, killing everybody. Heroes have to get involved, and even Steve Rogers, the evil Steve Rogers, ends up in this and escaping, and it's this whole big thing. And then they reboot because I guess they love doing these number ones, right? So Frank comes home after not stopping Zemo. He gets captured, he gets tortured, he escapes. So does Zemo. He follows Zemo back to New York, where over the past 16 issues, Frank has been running the war on the streets against Zemo. And then again, we get like a who's who of everybody. We get Daredevil, we get Spider-Man, we get a whole bunch of people like what was it, Night Thrasher or whatever from the new, that guy's a joke, man. I think he was still riding a skateboard in this. But like Moon Knight, Ghost Rider, Black Widow, and it all culminates to this. And I gotta say, it's a bit of a disappointment, because where I started off, and also the Mary Jane variant up behind me, because I was like, well, I'm already holding this, and you've already seen it in the intro, so I want to put the Mary Jane cover up because Amazing Mary Jane is out, and I'm not buying that issue. I just thought it'd be funny to see that they somehow said, hey, you know what book needs a Mary Jane variant? The Punisher. He looks as surprised to have her on his cover as I did. If you want to hear a balanced review on Amazing Mary Jane, go to Comics by Perch. He does a really good one. My opinion is, after that review, I was like, oh my god, that's who wrote that book? No wonder I'm not buying it. But anyway, we're here to talk about Punisher number 16. And, okay, so this story, I don't know how long Rosenberg was on this, but I picked it up at issue, let's see, 221, 220, 219, or 218. So I don't know how long before that he was on this book. But everything that's building up to this, it's like that. It's like when you're watching a show and you know that they're not going to let the hero, or in this case, anti-hero, get what he wants. Now, I was saying earlier that he takes out the Mandarin. The Punisher, like, spoilers, okay, for everything, but, like, the Punisher kills the Mandarin. That's a pretty big deal. Okay? And it was really dope. Alright, because the Mandarin was like this bullet that was like moving and he couldn't, like, it's a special bullet and he couldn't stop it from killing him. It was really rad. So we get him taking on Zemo, right? And we're thinking, oh, right, Punisher's going to kill this guy. But what happens is a little bit different. And leads us to the next thing. And I don't know if they already knew he killed the Mandarin, so why are they... Anyway. I just sometimes, comics logic and everything. So we start off with the aftermath of Frank and Zemo's like big offensive and how he's on the run and everybody wants to stop Frank because he knows he's going to kill him. He throws Punisher is going to kill these people that were against him, these like superpowered people. And Night Thrasher throws like one of his little batons at him and Punisher instantly throws a gun into his face. And he basically tells everybody, look, I don't need your help. I just need this guy right here, Ghost Rider. Because, of course, yeah, what do you need Night Thrasher for when you got Ghost Rider? So, Ghost Rider and him tear ass across New York. Oh, also, here's how badass Frank is. He takes a penance stare to the face. Right here. Okay? He tells him to do it, too. Okay? He says, that's right, he's the fun one. All I'm saying is I want, there's a deal, right? There's a deal that's been made by Frank and the Ghost Rider. And so he basically is like, I could have ended this if you'd let me do it my way. This is Ghost Rider talking. Not your job. I knew he'd run. I needed you to make sure I can catch him. You remember your end of our bargain when you finish this? Not sure I'm walking away from this one, Blaze. You know I'm not Blaze. That's right, he's the fun one. All I'm saying is you might want to collect now. So Ghost Rider turns to him and he's like, so be it, Francis Castiglione. And he gets blasted with the penance stare right in the face. And he says to him, the penance stare forces you to feel all the pain you have caused in this world. You now know what you truly are. Frank pukes, says, fuck that hurt. Most mortals go insane from this torment. So like Frank's basically shrugging it off. And he says, I ain't most people, Blaze, and you're even dumber than you look if you think I don't feel the pain I brought on this world every single day. Are you good to drive? You don't get drunk off doing that, right? So Frank takes a penance stare and just tells his Ghost Rider, yeah, I know. Yeah, I guess it hurts. And you know what's really funny? Is think about it. Cosmic Ghost Rider is Frank Castle. And now here we have Ghost Rider and Frank tearing ass across. Kind of a very, cool moment there. And we get this. This is a pretty cool page. This is a pretty cool page of them just blasting through this wall against all these Hydra guys that are waiting. And we get Fisk. Okay, now if you're not following, Fisk has been the mayor of New York because reasons, comic book reasons. It's like Bane being in charge of Gotham, in my opinion. But, less bullies on the street. Like, Kingpin's not literally just got the heroes not coming into the New York. Well, he knows what's going on, and he knows this is about Zemo. And Zemo, he's hiding out there. And we get this moment where there's Punisher lady, right? There's a lady Punisher in here, because of course there is. These days, there's a female character to every male character, it seems. Which, whatever. I could care less. She's in the way. And Frank gets stabbed by Zemo. He thinks it's like a standoff. And we have a pretty cool fight. And then Zemo gets the upper hand and stabs Frank in the back. Right? But again, Frank using it to his advantage. So he's got a whole sword through his back. And right down here, you see it coming out of his chest. So, Jesus Christ, how is Frank still alive? Well, he goes to take off Zemo's mask, right? And you can't really see who it is from where it is. And Frank's going to stab Zemo in the head. Alright, so we had a quick little edit there because my camera, as per usual, gave me technical difficulties and crashed my entire system, pretty much. Hang on one second here. Let's get that thing all bright and pretty. So, back to it. So Frank's going to stab Zemo in the head with the sword that's coming out of his chest, see? Alright. And this guy Ghost comes up and shoots him. Now, I don't know if this is the Ghost of, like, the same character, I mean, as the one from Ant-Man and the Wasp. I know the one in Ant-Man and the Wasp is a girl, but I'm not very familiar with Ghost. But Ghost is this character who can become like, can kind of dematerialize like a ghost. And Frank, kind of lets him monologue and goes on and to material, like, but to have this monologue, he has to materialize apparently, and that's when Frank gets the upper hand on him, stabs him in the chest, stabs him in the leg, says, oh hey, good job, you waited for me to dematerialize. He doesn't seem too concerned about it, that he got stabbed through the chest. And Zemo goes after everybody else. Or Zemo runs away, I should say, and Frank, talks to Lady Punisher for a second. And Fisk has this exchange with Baron Zemo, which turns out to be, to me, the anticlimactic thing of this book. Is that all this has been about Frank chasing this guy for what he did. And he's taken out a lot of people, and a lot of people have been in his way, but he just keeps going, and we just get to Fisk. And Kingpin, who is a great character, mind you, is just another person in Frank's way, in my opinion. It's like, he tells Zemo, it might be time to face facts, Helmet. You're in over your head, surrounded by people you never should have tried to swim with. You were never going to be the Red Skull or Strucker. Now the mask slipped off, and all the sharks can smell the blood. They really see what you really are. A minnow. What are you saying? Ghost says, I tried to save you. Wilson, wait. You never should have gone near Castle. And you never should have gone near me. Ghost? No! And so, Zemo, like, this is very, like, Zemo's supposed to be this kind of, like, I'm not going to call him a badass, but he's usually, like, more of a sneaky guy who has a way out of things. But Ghost, apparently, now, this is the other thing. All right, at first I didn't know what he did to him. Okay? I guess he erased him from existence, or vaporized, like, dematerialized him out of existence. I'm not going to pretend that I know everything about Ghost. So if anybody else knows what this is, but he appears to have killed Zemo. That all of this just kind of just goes away because Kingpin got involved, and now too many people are close to Kingpin. Like, too many heroes, too many things are it got too close, and now Fisk can't have Zemo causing him any more problems, and so he has Ghost kill him. And Frank comes in, and, just bangs through, and he's like, where is he? And Fisk says, I don't want to get into the gory details, but suffice to say, you owe me one. He's dead, Frank. It's over. It never ends, Fisk. There's always a bigger target. You're too late, Frank. I'm off the menu, but take the credit for whacking Zemo and we'll call it even. You're not getting on that helicopter. I never was. And so he is played again. Frank is played by Fisk now, because there's old Nick Fury waiting for him with Luke Cage and other people, Winter Soldier, to take Frank in. Like, after all this, he's now been played, and everybody wants to kill him, and Black Widow's there, and she's been kind of helping him. Because, I mean, they don't always agree with the same methods, but, I mean, Natasha's a former killer herself. And so, they try to tell him, Nick's telling him, like, it's always nice when we can get a win without unnecessary bloodshed, Frank. They're not going to let him behead the mayor of New York, That's what he says. And, Frank tells him, you think this is a win? And he's like, you all really think this is a game, don't you? You punch them, they punch you. Nobody ever really gets hurt. None of you ever fucking get it. This is a war. There are no winners, Fury. Hell of a speech, Frank, but if you understand it all so well, Frank, how come I'll still be playing tomorrow while you're locked up in a hole? So yeah, they're taking him in now after, everything. And so the Punisher just throws a sword right at Nick Fury. Everybody's standing there, even Nick's like, oh shit. But then, of course, good old Luke Cage gets in the way. Black Widow zaps Frank. Okay, this was very John Wick here at the end. Okay, so Black Widow, who's like supposed to be on Nick Fury's side, zaps Frank with her stinger, and he falls off the roof. Presumably to his death. And, you know, she's playing it off like, I reacted on instinct, you know, but I don't think anybody's buying it. I don't think anybody's buying it. I think it's all for show, right? It is all for show, and it's really obvious that it's all for show. Because you see the Ghost Rider trail here, right on the side of the building, right there in that middle panel here. Nope, this one right here. Perspective, I still don't have it. In many ways. But then it just says, the Punisher is dead in all black. I don't know why we needed it like that. I don't know why we needed it in the tiny little letters either. But, you know, Nick's not stupid. He knows what's going on. And he talks to her about it. Says he saw the flames, and Frank Castle is dead, Fury, and blah, blah, blah. Why should I, you know... But Nick's scared now. Because he's like, yeah, well, and why do I keep checking over my shoulder? And she says, paranoia is just one of the perks in our line of work. If I find out he's still alive out there, you and me are going to have another talk roaming off, and it won't be this friendly. And I don't think Baron Zemo's just going to be dead. I think that just incorporalizing him is... There's so many ways around that in comics that he'll just be back. And it makes it feel like all of this just kind of like was for nothing. Yeah, Mandarin's gone. Zemo's just makes when he comes back. You know, they'll find some new crazy way to bring him back. And Kingpin just still gets to keep running New York City. Which, that shit needs to stop pretty soon, alright? That needs to stop. I don't know if it's, you know, this whole thing... I don't know when Fisk became mayor. Something tells me that this probably happened right around the time that somebody else was running for president. If you know, follow me a little bit. But maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. Like I said, pre-2016, I'd been out of the game for like almost 20 years. But I do like, I'll read you what Matthew Rosenberg said. It says, Final Rounds with Matthew Rosenberg. He wrote this on, let's see, September 5th, 2019. It's 2 a.m. and I'm exhausted. I put off writing this as long as I could, but this issue is going to print tomorrow with or without this little letter, so it's time. I realize now that I didn't want to write it because I am really sick of saying goodbyes, even to crazy fucks like Frank. But here we are. We've had more technical difficulties in that little edit, so had to start over again. This camera has been nothing but a nightmare since I updated it. Ever since the update. So anyway, we're almost done. So I say, even the crazy guys like Frank, but here we are at the end of the line. Out of respect for Frank, I'll try to keep this short. It still doesn't feel real to me, but I spent over 2 years of my life, 27 issues with the my head. And in all that time, I don't think I learned any more about Frank Castle than what I knew as a kid. But sometimes I worried I learned a lot from him. I'm going to do my best to get back up when I get knocked down now. I'm going to see things through, and I'm going to make sure all my debts are paid. I don't look up to Frank Castle. He scares the hell out of me, in fact. But after living with him for so long, it's impossible not to respect him. Speaking of respect, I have to say something about my partner in crime hunting. Wow, that's a name. S-Z-Y-M-O-N. Szymon Kudranski. Together we put out 16 issues in 13 months. I can't think of any other artists who could pull that off, let alone with the style and pure badassery that Szymon puts on every single page. I shouldn't have to remind anyone of the Punisher Daredevil double-page spread from our first arc. Szymon and I, along with the amazing Greg Smallwood, Antonio Fabella, and Corey Pettit, made something together that was bigger than each of us, and it's one of my favorite things I've ever worked on. Proud to have done it with all of you. The same respect and admiration goes for our editorial team and the folks at Marvel. Jake Thomas, who is by far one of the best editors and people in comics. I'm sorry I keep trying to cut Frank's arm off, but it would have been funny. Mark Basso, always kinder than he needed to be, and always more fun to collaborate with than he should be. And thanks to Mikey, too. And there's some more people in here that he thanks. Thanks to all the retailers who stocked our book and all the bloggers and critics who talked it up. And finally, thanks to all the Punisher diehards, the fans who followed us over from other titles, the casual readers, and the folks who just picked it up because of morbid curiosity. It means the world to all of us. We walk away now. Our part in this fight is over, but I know we'll see Frank Castle again soon. His war never ends. And yeah, this is the picture for Punishment, Punisher Soviet #1 by Garth Ennis, which, look, I don't understand the Punisher Soviet angle and why Garth Ennis is doing it, but it's Garth Ennis, so I will be checking it out. But in the end, like I said, I've enjoyed this ride. I didn't like the #1 reboot style, and I didn't like that they changed the fact that Frank now looks... I like that they had him looking like Bernthal up until that #1. Otherwise, the Punisher has been a pretty fun ride. But then when you cut Frank's legs out from under him at the very end, that's very disappointing to just show, he still never quite gets what he wants. I just wanted him to get what he wanted. Like, a fitting ending to this is Zemo dead by Punisher's hands, not by somebody else. And I know, like, ooh, subverting expectations. Well, fuck subversion of expectations sometimes. Sometimes you just want what you want. And since Zemo is going to die either way, give it to Frank. After everything he went through in all these issues, give it to Frank. Otherwise, I think that this has been a great book. And again, I wanted to see him, like Zemo maybe thinking maybe the whole thing with Ghost was a ruse and he actually was helping him get away. But it doesn't fool Frank, and Frank tracks him down and shoots him in the face. I do recommend it if you are, still reading it. And it has been a fun run, but only 16 issues and we're just done. And we're going to have another #1. And he thanks C.B. Cebulski in here, and that's why I didn't say that, because it just, these decisions to just do these short things and start over and start over and start over. I mean, the legacy number is only 244. How could the Punisher only be a 244 in its 2019? I don't know. But it was a good book for the most part. I can't wait to see what Garth Ennis does with it. But Rosenberg, you did give me a lot of good issues that I really enjoyed. Some more than others, but hey man, not even my videos, are all great. Look at the technical problems I always have, so what can I, complain about? So, anyway, if you like this review, please hit the like button, comment, share, subscribe. You can find me on Twitter, I keep forgetting to say this, at reviews_gun. You can find me there and message me there if you want to message me and follow me there. Otherwise, this is Rob at Smirking Gun Reviews saying hopefully we'll be getting our comics someday in the future so I can do Marauders #1. By the time I do Marauders #1, it'll probably be time to do Excalibur #1. But by the time I get to Excalibur, it'll probably be time to do New Mutants and X-Force. So, have a great day, keep reading comics, and we'll see you on the next video. Bye.